Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.
Shalom, 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 Yashar'Al and Yahudah, grafted in Gentiles into the body of a Mashiach. We had it again, fulfilling a mandate by Yahudah, our Aluwah, the charge to warn Yashar'Al, son of Adam, warn the nation, warn them that they need to repent and turn from their sins. Warn them that they need to return and be restored back to me. That is the only way they're going to survive. And listen, he has not appointed us to stay in this wicked, filthy nation and land with the purpose of bedding down and hankering down and remaining in this land. This is not ours. Now listen to none other than the Aki Hezekiah. Song is entitled Jerusalem. It's one of the first songs that I ever heard he had sung. And I'm going to tell you right now, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I want to go home. I have been quickened by the Ruach HaKodesh. I am following the witness of Mashiach Yahushua, and I'm ready to go home. Abba Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua Mashiach, I give you praise. Todah, Rabba Yahuwah for the witness. The Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. I thank you that from my belly flows rivers of living water. Abba, I thank you for taking the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. I thank you for you having dominion over me. Dominion over my lips, over my mind, over my thoughts. I yield this body, this total being as an instrument of righteousness unto you. Abba, I thank you for power and authority in the Ruach HaKodesh. Thank you that I have the power to tread upon serpents and scorpions. Thanking you that I have the keys to the kingdom of the Shem. Thank you that whatever I bind on earth is bound in heaven. Whatever I loose on earth is loosed in heaven. I bind unclean ruachs. I bind ruachs of fear. I bind ruachs of perversion. I bind familiar ruachs. I bind unclean ruachs. I bind ruachs of fornication. These wicked devils that are trying to take hold and hold on to the people that you have chosen. Abba, I thank you for authority, and I bind these devils in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, and I command you to loose the people of Yahuwah. Take your hands off of those that Yahuwah has chosen. I command you to cease in your influence and your seed sown into their minds. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, to distract them, to prevent them from seeing the truth of Torah. Abba, I thank you right now that you honor this in the Shamayim. You said whatever I do on the Uretz, in your name you honor in the Shamayim. Abba, I'm here to wake up Yashar'Al and Yahudah to fulfill a mandate you've given me. And Abba, in the name of Yahushua Mashiach, I am coming forth in this witness to bring forth a word that'll establish your people. And Abba, I thank you for it right now. Abba, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. Hallelujah. Man of Yahuwah, woman of Yahuwah, listen. Yahuwah has called me to cry loud and to spare not. And I'm going to warn you. I am here to warn you. Yashar'Al and Yahudah, warning you to understand it. Listen, Yahuwah has not called you to settle in this wicked, diabolical land, right? He has not called this your land. This does not belong to you. It don't even belong to the people that claiming it's theirs, right? This land belongs to those that Yahuwah has placed here, right? Those that were here before everybody else, and it wasn't us. Listen, Yashar'Al and Yahudah, hear the word of Yahuwah, right? This is not our land. This is not the land that Yahuwah has called us to occupy. This is not the land of Canaan. This is not the land of Mount Zion. This is not the land of Jerusalem, right? And Jersey ain't either. Jersey ain't either. The land of Yahuwah's people is the land of Canaan, the land that Yahuwah has appointed for a people that he has given the land to, right? So it is on us to understand that though we are in a captivity, right, but have been made free through the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, right, we are now free from the curse that comes as a result of our failure to keep Torah, and now have been translated from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of his dear Son. He has not appointed us for the destruction that is going to come upon these United Snakes of America. Right? He hasn't appointed us to that. Right? He has not appointed us for that. Right? Right? But you, because you're stubborn, you, because you're stiff-necked, you, because you don't want to hear his word, right? You will be destroyed in this land because you want to hold on to it with a death grip, right? A land that has not done anything for you, right? A people that are in the leadership head of this nation have no intentions of doing anything for you. Let's look at something here, right? Yahuwah from the beginning has established lands and territories for peoples, right? Lands and territories for people, right? And these people were to occupy the lands that Yahuwah gave them, right? So this is the reason why we understand that as a nation of people, we can't expect to settle, remain, and or dwell in a land that is not ours, right? And demand the rights that the people of that land have because we are strangers. We are strangers in the land of the United Snakes of America, right? We're strangers. Right? We are sojourners. Our intentions in the land is to occupy and be in until it's time to journey out. Right? Okay, let's do it this way, right? Let's go to Jubilees, right? Jubilees, right? Jubilees, right? And what we're going to see is the divisions of lands. I'm going to read through it fast, right? The divisions of lands that were given to the sons of Noah, which represented the world, right? Because of the flood, right? All men were destroyed. But righteous Lot and the sefer that he had received from Methuselah, what Methuselah had received from Enoch, was his possession. He understood Torah, he understood sacrifices, he understood that was to be done. And he had the responsibility of making sure that the sons of the world, right, would have lands and territories that would be theirs, right? Says here, right? Let me see where we starting at. Let's go to Jubilees, the 8th chapter. Let's start at the 9th verse, right? The 9th verse. Right. Now, the sons of Noah, matter of fact, firstborn grew, since born, 8th year. I'm trying to scan down so that we can get to the beginning. Okay, so let's go to the 9th verse. And they divided it secretly amongst themselves and told it to Noah. Right? So, you know, the brothers, they got together and they divided the land up secretly. Right? And it came to pass in the beginning of the 33rd Jubilee that they divided the earth into 3 parts. Right? For Shem and Cham and Yapheth, according to the inheritance of each. So the division of lands were for a people group, right? A nation group, right? A division of lands to create separation and growth in order to occupy the earth, right? Right? Divided it into 3 parts, the earth into 3 parts, verse 10, for Shem, for Cham, for Japheth, according to the inheritance of each, right? So there was an inheritance in each, right? In the first year, in the first week, when one of us who had been sent was with them, right? One of them, us who was sent, that was with them, right? Right? And this was, I believe this was a Melachim, right, that was sent with them, right? Okay, now, and he called his sons, and they drew nigh to him, they and their children, and he divided the earth into the lots which his 3 sons were to take in possession, and they reached forth their hands and took the writings out of the bosom of Noach, their father. And there came forth of the writings as Shem's lot, the middle of the earth, which is sub-Saharan Africa. Right? Right, the middle of the earth. That's where the equator runs through. Right? Right. The equator. The middle of the earth. Right? Sub-Saharan Africa. Above the equator, below the equator, sub-Saharan Africa. Everything below the equator. In the middle of the earth, which he should take as an inheritance for himself and for his sons for the generations to eternity. Right? Right. So the lands that you're in now are not that land. He says here's the middle of the earth. Right? Himself for his sons, generations to eternity, from the middle of the mountain range of Rafa, from the mountains of the waters, from the river Tina. Now these are mountains. These are not hills. These have elevation. They have elevation. There ain't no elevation in Jersey. Mount Zion is a hill in Jersey. This ain't that. Right? He says here, generations of eternity, from the middle of the mountain range of Rafa, from the mountains of the waters, from the river Tina, and his portion goes towards the west through the middle of the midst of the river, and it extends till it reaches the waters of the abyss. So it reaches to the water of the abyss, right? Or to the waters of the great ocean or the great sea, right? Right? And extends till the waters of the abyss out of which the river goes forth and pours its water into the sea, Me'eth, and the rivers flow into the great sea. the land of Shem, right? 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 And all that's towards the north is Yapheth. All that is towards the north is Yapheth. Right? Ashkenaz is in the land of Yapheth. Not the land of Shem. And all that's towards the north is Yapheth. Ashkenaz is a descendant of Yapheth. They in their land. That make it make sense, right? 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 Jubilees. They didn't want you to know all that. They didn't want you to know and understand this. Right? Towards the Negev, beyond to Shem, and extends till it reaches Karaso, and these names have changed, right? But the regions and areas of the north and the south remains the same. The middle of the earth is the middle of the earth, right? The middle of the earth is the middle of the earth. It says here, and all that is towards the north is Yapheth, and all that is towards the Negev, Shem, belongs to Shem. And it extends till it reaches Karaso. This is the bosom of the tongue, which looks towards the Negev. Now, again, there are people that have extensively researched and broken down these names and where they are, right? RD has a documentary, a more recent one. And actually, he has 4 documentaries that brings to us a knowledge of who the people of Yahudah really are, right? And where they are, right? Where the land of Canaan is, who the people of Canaan are, right? Right? And where the people of Canaan has been and still are. There has been a violation of territory and spaces, right? In incursions, all right, on the lands of people that have been given designated spots to exist in. It says here, right? Right. And this portion extends along the Great Sea and extends in a straight line till it reaches the west of the tongue, right? Which looks towards the Negev, right? For this sea is named the tongue of Mitzri Sea, Egypt. So the sea that separates Egypt and the northern Japhetic territory is Japheth's territory. That extends to the right and to the left, as I understand it. Right? Right. But we're talking lands. Now there's a reason why we're doing this, right? Right. There's a reason why we're doing it, right? He says here, and it turns from here towards the Negev, towards the mount of the Great Sea, and to the shores of the waters, and it extends to the west to Araph, and it extends till it reaches the waters of the river of Gihon on the south of the water and of the banks of the river, right? And it extends towards the east, right? Now this is it. And it reaches the Garden of Eden. Right? To the south thereof, to the south, and from the east, the whole land of Eden, and of the whole east, it turns to the east and proceeds till it reaches the east of the mountains, Rafa, and it descends to the bank of the mouth of Tina. Right? Now these are lands, these are territories, right? And this is the portion by lot of Shem and his sons, that they should possess it forever, for generations evermore. Right? Right? And Noah rejoiced that this portion came forth to Shem and his sons, and he remembered all that he had spoken with his mouth in prophecy. Right? For he had said, blessed be Yahudah, Eluah of Shem. May Yahudah dwell in the dwellings of Shem. Sub-Saharan Africa. And he knew that the Garden of Eden is the holies of holies and the dwelling of Yahudah. And Mount Sinai, right, the center of the desert, right, and Mount Sion, the center of the navel of the earth, right? These three were great and holy faces each other. So you got these three super big, super tall mountains, right? Highest peaks, right? And they all face each other, right? They all face each other. Ain't no mountain peaks like that over Jersey facing each other. Not in the land of Yapheth. Right? And he blessed the Yahudah of he blessed the Yahudah of Yahuwahs, who had put the word of Yahudah into his mouth, and Yahudah forevermore. And he knew that a blessed portion of a blessing had come to Shem and to his sons unto the generations forever. The generations forever. The whole land of Eden. The whole land of the Red Sea, the Reed Sea. Yeah. You got to explore that a little bit further. You have people that have researched these names, right? These names that they put in here. And the mounts thereof, and all the lands of Bashan, and all the land of Lebanon, the islands of Kafir, and all the mountains of Shiri and Amanah, and the mountains of Ashur in the north, and all the land of Elam and Ashur, and Babel, and Shushan, and Madai, and all the mountains of Arath, and all the regions beyond the sea, which is beyond the mountain of Ashur towards the north, a blessed and spacious land. And all that is in it is very good. Right. So, that land. See, and for Cham came forth the second portion beyond the Gihon towards the south, to the right of the garden, and it extended towards the south, and it is extended to all the mountains of fire, and it extended towards the west of the sea of Eretz, and it extends beyond the west of the reach of Ma'uk, the sea, and the descents thereof, right? So Cham's portion is hot. Right, it's hot. Right. Right? Shem's portion is Upper Egypt, right? Lower Egypt, above the Sahara, right? And across Egypt, right? Over to Ethiopia, right? The territories that are in the upper hot portions of the continent of Africa. Right? Right? He says here, till it draws near to the river of Gihon and goes along the river of Gihon till it reaches the right of the Garden of Eden. And this is the land which came for Cham, as the portion which he was to occupy forever for himself and his sons in their generation, right? And it also talks about the portions. Now, here's where we're going with this, right? Right? Chapter 9 and 14, right? And thus the sons of Noah divided their sons in the presence of Noah their father, and he bound them by all the oaths, implicating a curse, on everyone that sought to seize the portion which had not fallen to him by lot. So you had Shem give a lot to his sons. Yapheth divided up their territories and gave lots to their sons. Shem divided it up, Middle Earth, and gave a portion throughout his sons, right? Right? And it says here, he bound them all by an oath, right? Imprecating a curse on everyone that sought to seize the portion which had not fallen to him by his lot. Right? Right? And they all said, so be it for themselves and their sons forever. Forever. Throughout their generations to the days of judgment. Forever. Unto the days of judgment. Listen, you have these nations, these sons of Yapheth, that had went to war with another and took each other's lands and confiscated each other's property, incursions, right? Which were a direct violation of a covenant or a violation to a Torah that Yahudah had established for men in order to live, right? He said so. So, and they all said, be it so, be it so. For themselves and their sons forever, throughout their generations to the day of the judgment, on which Yahudah shall judge them with a sword and with fire for all the uncleanness and wickedness of their errors. That's the judgment. Right? You can't go into somebody's land and seize control of it. Right? That's a violation of Torah. Right? Listen. Yahudah said, these nations, they have come into my land. The land of Shem. Sub-Saharan Africa, the Congo. Right? Sub-Saharan Africa. Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Sub-Saharan Africa. Listen. Who said they parted my lands? They divided amongst themselves. They've never divided Jersey. Right? They've never divided Jersey. I mean, you got separation between the Palestinians, you know, and Ashkenaz. Right? That's Japheth. Incursions. They were bound with a curse for incursions. You have a place that you are supposed to live and occupy. That is your designated land. In Yahuwah's land, it's a land for a people that he has chosen, Yashar'Al and Yahudah, of which Noah had prophesied in reference to Shem that he would receive. On which Elohim shall judge them with a sword and with fire for all their uncleanness and their errors wherewith they have filled the earth with transgression, uncleanness, and sin and fornication. Right. Now, Cham or Ham divided the portion of his sons, Cush, Mitzrayim, Push, and Canaan, right? Divided up the lands that were given to him by Noah, right? Canaan decided he didn't want his land. He wanted the territory of Yapheth, right? And Cham warned him, and they all warned him, saying that there will be a judgment incurred upon you, right? If you choose to violate this Torah, this law, right? Now, here's the thing. Cham's son, Canaan, was already cursed by Noah. Canaan's name is written out of the inheritance. Their name is going to, Canaan is going to be a people that is written out. They first incurred because they didn't like the land that they had. They wanted the land that Shem had. Canaan. Right? See, you gotta look at this documentary that RD did. Right? Ron. You figure out the last name D. Right? You gotta look at that. Right? Because it identifies who the sons of Canaan are. Right? And it's not who we have been taught to by Catholicism and this religious tyrannical network of diabolical scheming people who have literally tried to reshape the times and the dates and the seasons and the images and the territories and the lands. It's diabolical, wicked, right? They fought to hide, right? But see, the revealing of the truth is being manifested. See, you know, Yashar'Al and Yahudah, y'all so dumbed down, right? Having learned the ways of the heathens. The heathens has dumbed you down, right? They have taught you or led you to believe that the pursuit of a higher education is somehow linked to being intelligent, right? But in reality, it was a conditioning of your mind, right, to move you into a deeper commitment to their ways and pull you from ever regathering or re-establishing yourself as a people who are called by the name of Yahudah. It's a scheme. It's diabolical. Right? Right? Canaan. Incursion into the land of Shem. Right? Shem. Now, let's go a little further, right? Let's go a little further, right? Right. Jubilees, the 10th chapter, right? Jubilees, the 10th chapter, starting at 28th verse. And Cham and his sons, or Ham, his sons, went into the land which he was to occupy, which he acquired as his portion in the land of the south. Right? And Canaan, his son Canaan, saw that the land of Lebanon, which is the land of Shem, right, to the river of Mitzrayim, right, that land above sub-Saharan Africa, that land below sub-Saharan Africa, right, a land below sub-Saharan Africa, but yet, right, to the right of the river of Mitzrayim. So he left his territory to go deeper into Canaan. You know, there's some things that have to be factored in, but you know, the deception is deep. They spent billions of dollars to hide this. Constantine Nasi at the conferences of Nasi. Yes, I said Nasi. Did everything in their power to shift the worship of Yahudah through faith in Yahusha to what we see today. To shift everything that we have that connects us to Torah and ordinances and laws that govern universal conduct that we had because it was given us. Lands that were divided. Curses that came as a result of incursions. Canaan was cursed by Noah, his father, right? Because of how he moved in and witnessed, or how the scripture says that Cham came and told his brothers that he saw his father's nakedness. They went in backward. Shem and Yapheth covered their father and went out. His father knew, Noah, what Ham had done, and he cursed Canaan. Canaan was under a curse, and Canaan made an incursion into Shem's lands and established himself in Shem's land, Canaan. everybody had a place to be. Everybody had an inheritance. Even when Yahudah gave us the land, he gave it to us by inheritance in tribe. Now, why are we going into this? Because the land that you in ain't yours. That's the point, right? So, he says here in the 10th chapter, the 28th verse, and Shem and his sons went into the land which he was to occupy, which he acquired as his portion in the land of the south. And Canaan saw that the land of Lebanon to the river of Mitzrayim, that it was very good, and he went not into the land of his inheritance, to the west, that is to the sea, and he dwelt in the land of Lebanon, east and westward, from the border of the Yarden, and from the border of the sea. Now listen, Jersey is a fake. Jersey ain't the real deal. How you gonna make an incursion in? That's Yapheth. You gonna make an incursion into Yapheth. You say Yapheth. He said Lebanon. Lebanon is Middle Earth, right? Lebanon is the middle of the equator. Lebanon is Congo, Sub-Saharan Africa, where the tribe of Yahudah, Wahidah, was taken. 1740 map. Into who we were. So, that's what he did, right? Now, Cham, his father, and Cush and Mitzrayim, his brother, said unto him, you have settled in a land which is not yours. Yashar'Al, you settling in a land that's not yours. You're settling in a land that was stolen. You are settling in a land in which there was incursion, which comes with the curse. And these people, Babylon is cursed. The daughter of Babylon is cursed. She's going down. Right? Whose judgment is fire and sword. It's coming. See, we were brought to this land against our wills. There is a judgment for this land by virtue of they're violating the territories of these people. Right? Yahuwah's trying to gather us to get us to escape. He's trying to bring us into a witness through faith in Hamashiach Yahusha. He's trying to get us to move away from the ways of the heathen. But you stiff-necked, hard-hearted Israelites, you want to be like them still. You want to dress like them. You want to be like them. You want what they got in their lands. You know, now there's a number of us like, well, we just want to be left alone. We just want to be left alone in the land of our captivities. No, they will not leave you alone. Right? They will not leave you alone. Right? They will gather you. They will try to kill you. They'll do everything they can because, right, that's who they are. Right? But your goal should be to get to Canaan land, right? That land that Yahuwah had promised us. All right. Let me get I got some ground to cover. He says here, listen. You have settled in a land that is not yours, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so. Don't do this. For if you do so, you and your sons will fall in the land and be cursed. You fall to the land and be cursed. This is right. Canaan was cursed by Noah. Canaan brought a curse upon his own self and his sons. Canaan, right, would serve his brothers. Always. Be a servant to his brothers. Always. Cain, right? He told him, he says, you and your sons will fall in the land and be accursed through sedition, for by sedition ye have settled, and by sedition your children fall, and you shall be rooted out forever. That's what Cham told him. That's what Put told him. That's what Mitzrayim told him. Cush told him. We can't assume this land. We don't have a right to assume this land. We don't have a right to say because we were born in the United States of America, that gives us the right to assume a land and a territory that it was not given to us. A land that was taken through violence and bloodshed against the people, right? A people who were literally almost written out. Yet we want to establish a place of permanency in a land that is under a curse because of the violence that this wicked nation has done. And this wicked nation, right? They've done this in other lands. They've taken authority over countries in continents, right? Without after physically having to do anything, but they take people from amongst that nation and they put them up in proxy in order to steal and to take over that land and everything that operates in it as a resource. Nation's under judgment. This nation's under judgment, y'all. Listen. Why would you want to be subject to a nation that is going to fall because of sin? See, you call me to cry loud and spare not, right? You're going to die and go to hell. You're going to die and suffer the fate these other nations have. This is not your land. This is not their land. They're supposed to be up north. It's not their land. He says here, and you know, no, I'm not going to go there. You won't go there because you told me to go there. Okay, so he says, through sedition you will settle, and by seditions you and your children will fall and be rooted out of the land. Dwell not in the dwellings of Shem, for to Shem and his sons did it come by their lot. Cursed are you, and cursed shall you be beyond all the sons of Noah. Canaan, the Canaanites, those that dwelled in the land of Canaan. He says here, listen. By curses and by which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy Kodesh judge. And Malachi stood and heard the word, the decree, that made sure that it was recorded in the Shamayim witness. The presence of the holy judge, and in the presence of Noah, our father. He says, but he did not hearken unto them, and dwelt in the land of Lebanon, from the Chamath to the entering of Mizraim, he and his sons until this day. Till this day. The land of Canaan, Lebanon, Middle Earth, a people, short people. It's short people, short in stature. Existing throughout sub-Saharan Africa. In the Congo. Little black people. Cursed. Yeah, y'all better get a clue. You better get a clue. See, I thank Yahudah for the Ruach HaKodesh, right? Because by the Ruach HaKodesh, he causes me to understand, see, and discern truth. You can't just tell me nothing, right? Yahuwah's going to put it together, and I'm going to see it like a picture. I'm going to read it like a book in the Ruach HaKodesh, right? Because I have the mind of Mashiach. He's giving me the Ruach of Yahuwah, Ruach of wisdom and understanding, Ruach of counsel, Ruach of might, Ruach of knowledge and the fear of Yahuwah. Hear the word of Yahuwah. You can't stay in this land. You can't stay in the United States of America, right? You can't. This is not your land. This is not your land. Actually, to be perfectly honest with you, right? Mexico is more entitled to California than the United States is. Because it was their territory, their land. The indigenous Indian population, Native American, natives. You know, American was the name they gave it. But the native land. So cursed are you, and cursed shall you be, all the sons of Noah, by the curse by which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judge. He said, but 33. But he did not hearken. He didn't hearken, right? To a land. Did not hearken, but dwelt in the land of Lebanon. Chamath. To the entering of Mizraim, he and his sons unto this day. Now, let's go to Yovheliym. All right. Yovheliym. Yovheliym, right? So, lands. The portion of land that Yapheth, that belonged to him, right? The land of Canaan, right? Land, right? He says here. Yapheth, the son of Shem, right? Son of Terah, his father, right? Let me see. Okay, that's when he burnt down the idols. That's not what I want. Let me see. Okay. Okay, here you go. Here we go. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find something here. Oh, yeah, here we go. Nah, that's not it. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Yapheth, Jubilees 13th chapter. And Yapheth journeyed from Haran, and he took Sarai, his wife, and Lot, his brother Haran's son, right, to the land of Canaan. The land of Canaan. See, Yashar'Al, that's where your land is. That's where they took you from. They didn't take you from Jersey. Huh? They didn't take you from Jersey. And Yapheth journeyed to Haran, and he took Sarai, his woman, and Lot, his brother's son, because he became Yapheth's son, right? To the land of Canaan, and he came to Ashur, and proceeded to Shechem, and dwelt near the lofty oak. Now, when we remember reading where the land of Shem was, right? And how the land was divided, right? He went to, right, the land of Canaan, right? And he came into Asher, and he proceeded to Shechem, and dwelt near the lofty oak. And he saw, and behold, the land was very pleasant, from the entering in of Chomath to the lofty oak. And Yahudah said to him, to you and your seed will I give this land. A land that Canaan took. Right? A land that the descendants of Yapheth would eventually get by taking it as a result of the acts of Canaan's disobedience and his sons and his descendants, right, opposing or having imposed on them the curse. He says here, and you said unto him, to you and your seed will I give this land. And he built an altar there, and he offered thereon an ascending smoke sacrifice to Yahudah, who had appeared to him. And he removed from thence unto the mountain of Beth Yahu, not Bethel, but yeah, Beth Yahu, on the west, and Ai on the east, and pitched his tent there. Right? And he saw, and behold, the land was very wide and good, and grew, and everything grew thereon, vines and fig trees and pomegranates, oaks and terebinth and olive trees and cedar and cypress and date trees and all the trees of the field and the waters in the mountains. That ain't Jersey. That's Middle Earth. That's the middle of the equator. That's sub-Saharan Africa. It's the land of Canaan that was Shem's land. That Canaan took. That Canaan would receive a curse from. Because he chose to make incursion on the land of on the lands of Shem, the descendants of Yovheliym. You can't take a land that was not given to you by lot. Right? And take that land and say that it's yours. Yashar'Al and Yahudah. Right? Can't do it. Now, right? Yahudah. Maybe I should wait to get to this. No, you was go ahead and say it. He has established tribes. 12 tribes. Right? The 12 sons, the 12 patriarchs, right? The progenitor of the 12 tribes. And as they went into the land of Canaan, because Canaan was cursed, because Canaan violated Torah, and Canaan was an idol worshiper. Canaan ate unclean things. Canaan did all kinds of stuff. Little people. Little people. Canaan. Right. Because of the curse, the land could be possessed and given to the 12 tribes. Because it was theirs originally. And the Yahudah, as our nation moved into this territory under the leadership of Moshe on this side of the Yarden, and on the other side of the Yarden was it in the hands of Yahusha and Yahshua to go in and drive out, destroy, and kill, and to root out Canaan from the land. Now everybody in that land was related to Canaan. They were in a land that did not belong to them. They were descendants of Canaan. Canaanites, Canaanites, Hittites, Shemonites. Not right. The Kenites, the Perizzites, the Hittites, all of ites. Jebusites, Amorites. All of those people that came into the land of Canaan, Canaan and his sons were rooted out. But you know what? There's a story behind that. A Torah. But Yahudah was saying to He's saying to Yovheliym, right? He says, And Yahudah said unto him, to you and your seed will I give this land. Which land? Right? 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 The land of Canaan. Right? And Abraham journeyed from Haran. He and took Sarah his woman and Lot his brother's son to the land of Canaan. Canaan. Rooted out. And Yahudah said unto him, to you and your seed will I give this land. Right? And he built an altar there and offered thereon ascending smoke sacrifices to Yahudah, who had appeared unto him. And he removed from thence into the land of Beth Yahu, because I don't like El. Beth Yahu, to the west of Ai on the east, and pitched his tent there. And he saw, and behold, the land was very good, and good with all of these things. Right, verse 7. And he blessed Yahudah, who had led him out of Ur of the Chaldees, from the land of idolatry, unto his own land. Right? To the land of Chaldees, right? Blessed Yahudah had led him out from the land of Ur of the Chaldees, and had brought him to this land. And it came to pass in the first year, in the 7th week, on the new moon of the first month, that he built an altar on this mountain, and called on the name of Yahudah, you, the eternal Yahudah of my fathers. Right? And he offered on the altar an ascending smoke sacrifice unto Yahudah, that he should be with him, and not forsake him all the days of his life. And he removed from thence and went towards the Negev, and he came to Chevron, and Chevron was built at the time, and he dwelt there 2 years. And he went thence into the land of Negev, to Baloth, and there was a famine in the land. Right? Right. Famine. Yahudah is a Yahudah that is true to his word. Abraham had made it to the land of Canaan, his land, the land of his inheritance. But he had no seed. So throughout it all, he had to believe Yahudah for the possession of the land, right? Right? And a seed to fill it. He did that with Abraham. He did that with Sarah. He did that through Yitzhak. He did that through Jacob. Right? They lived in the land. Jacob, Abraham blessed him, said that Yahudah would continue to bless him in the land that he's given. Says, what does it say? The book of Hebrews says it like this. Right? I think it's, let's do this. I think it's 12. I think it's 12. All right. No. Why did you do that? Okay. Hebrews 11:8. By faith, Yapheth, right? When he was called, right? When he was called out, when he was called to go into a land which he should receive for an inheritance, a land that was to be his and his descendants, right? Obeyed and went out, not knowing where he had went. Yapheth knew the land of Canaan. Right? He knew the land of Canaan. He went, being led by Yahudah, to the land of Canaan, not having been there. Right? Right? By faith he sojourned in the land of promise. He was living in the land of Canaan. By faith. Right? But in this land of Canaan, he had to have a seed in order to have it inherited. By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise as a stranger in a country. He was living amongst the Canaanites. He was living amongst all the rest of the mites in Canaan. All those that had incurred on the land. They have incurred on the land. The incursions on the land. Strangers. It was a land that was promised to them, but they hadn't taken possession of it yet. There still dwelt Canaan. Canaan. That was occupying their land. Yapheth was chosen because he refused to serve the elves of his father, and Yahudah moved him out of that land into the land of Canaan, which was his possession, rightful possession. He says that by faith, he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Yitzhak and Yaakov, the heirs of the same promise. Yapheth lived to 175 years old. Through Yitzhak, he witnessed Esau and Yaakov. In Yaakov, he witnessed the birth of his sons, the 12 sons. He's seen his nation. He's seen it. He sent Yishmael and Keturah's sons away from Yaakov. Because the land was not theirs. It was the land that was given to Yapheth. You said, I'll make Ishmael a great nation, but not in the land of Canaan. Esau will go and move up in and make incursion in the lands of Japheth. Jersey. In the caves. Seer. Man of Yah. You are of a descendant of a people who have a land. You were violently taken from your land, from your inheritance, from that which was passed down from your fathers. He says he dwelt in tabernacles with Yitzhak and Jacob, heirs with him according to the same promise. For he looked for a city that had foundation, Jerusalem, whose builder and maker was Yahudah. Yahudah. The land. This is not your land. This is not your land. You know, that's why even Yahudah, right, when we went over into the land. Matter of fact, let's go there real quick. Let's go to where is it at? Where is that? Joshua. Where? Jordan, Jericho. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's, well, matter of fact, let's go to 20. Nah. All right. Yahusha is in the land and he's getting ready to exit, right? He has went forth, right? Let's do this. Joshua 23, right? And it came to pass, 23:1. And it came to pass, as long time after that, Yahudah had given the rest of Yashar'Al, what Yahudah had given rest unto Yashar'Al from all the enemies, their enemies round about, that Yahusha waxed old and was stricken with age. Yahusha, old, stricken with age. And Yahusha called all Yashar'Al and all their elders, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers, and said unto them, I am stricken in age. And ye have seen all that Yahudah your Eluah have done unto all these nations, right? Descendants of Canaan. Nations because of you. Right? For Yahudah, your Eluah, is he that hath fought for you. Right? Canaan was cursed. The descendants of Canaan was cursed. The land was Shem's land. A descendant of Shem. Specifically, Avraham through Yitzchak and Jacob. The land, by rights, belonged to the 12 tribes. Right? But it was occupied for an extended period of time. Right? By the Canaanites. Right? He says, Yahudah fought for you. Because Yahudah had already told Canaan that he was going to be cursed. Noah declared a curse on Canaan. Canaan was cursed because he incurred it into the land. His brother and his father told him that you're going to be rooted out, and so is your sons. Your land. It's not your land. It's Shem's land. Lebanon belongs to Shem. The descendants of Shem. The 12 tribes of Yashar'Al. He says, behold, I have divided unto you by lot these nations. So I've given you the land. I've divided it up amongst the 12 tribes. The heads of tribes. Yahudah, Benjamin, Simeon, Issachar, Zebulun, Naphtali, Benjamin, Levi. Well, Levi didn't have the land. He just was in everybody's land. Ephraim, Joseph, I'm missing somebody. Manasseh. I don't know if I said Manasseh. And Gad. Right? 12 tribes. They went in and removed a people that weren't in a land that was theirs. But they had settled in that land, right? From the time Canaan went and made an incursion into that land. Just like the United Snakes have made incursion into what they call America. Right? Made an incursion into land that wasn't theirs. Right? They have stolen people from a land and brought them into the same land that they had made incursions. That people, Yashar'Al and Yahudah specifically, in the nation of their captivities, in the lands of their captivities, right? You do not have a right to this land. You don't have a right to this land. You have land on the continent of Africa. You have a land that flows with milk and honey, right? That is yours. This is not it. He says, behold, I have divided unto you by lots these nations that remain to be an inheritance for your tribe. And Jordan with all the nations that I have cut off, even unto the great sea westward. Your territory. That Yahudah is cut off. He's gone before you. You were to utterly destroy these people. You was utterly supposed to root them out of the land. You were utterly supposed to root them out of the land, but you didn't. They became a snare to you. Right? He says here, and Yahudah your Eluah, he shall expel them from before you and drive them out of your sight, and ye shall possess their land as Yahudah their Eluah hath promised unto you. Right? He says, be ye therefore very courageous, and keep to do all that was written in the book of the Torah. Right? Keep the Torah, you as people. Right? That ye turn not aside from them to the right or to the left. Because in the day that you do, right? In the day that you do, right? Deuteronomy 28 and 64, Yahudah shall scatter you among the people, from the one end of the earth even to the other, and there thou shalt serve other elves, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known of wood and stone. Right? Right? He says here, back in Joshua, but you therefore be very courageous and keep and to do all that is written in the book of the Torah of Yahudah, that ye may not turn aside from the right hand or to the left. Don't turn from the right hand to the left, because you will incur the same judgment as those that he has physically removed, right? Because of their disobedience and their sin, right? No. This is, I remind you. Now, right? So he says here, let's go back real quick to he says in reference to Canaan, right? And Shem and his father and Cush Mizraim his brother said unto him, you have settled in a land which is not yours, which ye did not fall to us by a lot. Do not do this, do not do so, right? For if you do, so you and your sons will fall in the land and be cursed through sedition. For by sedition ye have settled, and by sedition will your children fall, and you shall be rooted out forever. Dwell not in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and his sons did it come by their lot, Yovheliym. Canaan, right? He says, cursed are you, and cursed shall you be beyond all the sons of Noah, right? And by the curse by which we bound ourselves, by the oath in the presence of the holy judge, and in the presence of Noah our father, right? Let me go back one more chapter, because I think it's in the other one. Oh, yeah. He says here, in the 15th verse. Chapter 9 of Jubilee 15. And they all said, be it so for themselves and for their sons forever, throughout their generation, to the days of the judgment, of which Yahudah shall judge them with a sword and with fire for all uncleanness. This is the point I'm trying to get to. It was more than just the fact that they were in a land, They were in a land that Yahudah had promised them, a land that they had received by inheritance, right? But a land that was Yahuwah's land, a land that was where his name was in, right? Now, if he says throughout all generations and days, on which Yahudah, your Yahudah, shall judge them with a sword and with fire from all uncleanness and wickedness in their errors, wherewith they have filled the earth with transgression, uncleanness, and fornication of sins. Right? He says, and Yahudah, and back in Joshua 5, and Yahudah your Lord shall expel them from before you and drive them out of your sights, and ye shall possess their land as Yahudah had promised, he hath promised unto you. Right? So you shall possess, right, their land, right, which is not really theirs land. It was always the land of Shem before Canaan had taken it. But as far as they're concerned, it's their land. Because throughout their generations, that's what they had as their land. Right? 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 Be ye very courageous to keep and to do all that is written in the book of Moshe, that ye turn not aside to the right hand or to the left. Why? Because if you do, you're going to be judged. Right? Right? That ye come not among these nations, these that remain among you, neither make mention of the name of their gods. Don't do it. Nor cause to swear by them. Don't do it. Neither serve them nor bow down themselves to them. See, over here in the United States of America, you have taken from your land and brought into a land that was stolen from a people, by a people who had power and authority to move in and steal, right? And they have used you, brainwashed you, taken you and caused you to identify, assimilate, and want to be a part of a culture that's not yours, right? There is a judgment that has to come to this land. There were people that shed innocent blood in this land, right? There were people that have done wickedly in this land, right? Right? This land is not yours. It's not yours. Well, I ain't never been to Africa. I ain't never been to Sub-Saharan Africa. I don't want nothing to do with Africa. Fine, stay here, die with everybody else. This is only for a remnant. Listen. I don't expect this message to be received by everybody. I really don't. This is just for somebody that Yahudah has chosen, who need to understand that their lands and their inheritance by lot is in Sub-Saharan Africa, in the land of Canaan, where the little people live. Vast lands. We were taken from the land of Yahudah. Right. Specifically the territory of the Congo. They have conditioned me to believe that I do not belong there. I belong here. But in belonging here, they don't want me here. They don't want me to advance here. They don't want me to progress here. They want to keep me down here. They want me to be under here. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, hear the word of Yahudah. This is not your land. You can't settle in this land that is a land that has been incursions on, that has been taken violently from a people, right? And have been made to be a land of a people that doesn't belong there. Listen. Your land is Sub-Saharan Africa. Your land is where your people are. They look like you. Yeah, they got some growing to do. They got some Torah awareness to experience. But Yahudah has a place for you there. And Yahudah is looking to gather his remnant from the lands we have been scattered in. This ain't our land. It's not. Not our land. South America ain't our land. Mexico ain't our land. And wherever we are in these lands, we've been relegated to nothing. And the ghettos, the projects, places where they could keep us and manage us and control us to hold our populations under a certain number. Yeah, I said it. Man, if y'all want me, I hear the word of Yahudah. This is not your land. Abba, I pray right now in the name of Yahushua Mashiach that the words you've given me to give to them, they would receive it in Amunah, that they would understand it is a word of truth and of Torah that is to bring clarity and understanding to them. Abba, I praise you for this word, this witness. Abba, I pray that in this word and this witness, they will be quickened and made alive. Abba, Yahuwah, I know this word ain't for everybody, it's for somebody. But I give you praise for it right now. Abba, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, listen. I truly want to go out with this song. I remember the first time I heard this song, man. And I was probably to tears. Actually did bring me tears. When you understand that you are a people that has been robbed and spoiled, that you are a people that was stolen from your lands and brought to a land that these devils that move as swift as the eagle, tyranny upon a land and a people that they incursion, they moved on and against to take dominion and power over them, to take what they had. And then they used you. And they wanted you to assimilate, but only to a degree. They realized that there were some bright, fine, intelligent people that could be used to help establish their network of nation kingdom building here in this United States, and they took them. They made them Freemasons. They made them Alphas, Kappas, Gammas. They made them ministers and priests and pastors, as they gave them Baal and the earth pig, gods that we did not know. We didn't know the names. We didn't know them. We didn't know Baal. I mean, we knew Baal because the land that we took that was Canaan was heavily Baal worship and Ashtaroth. Man of Yah, woman of Yah. That's where I want to be. And that's Sub-Saharan Africa. I'm sorry. That's not Jersey. It's not there. So, man of Yah, woman of Yah, called the greatest woman who was beautiful, wanted me to say that you was favored Jew. I said that fast, but I want you to be blessed. But understand and know that you have a land by lot that Yahudah has given to you. Sub-Saharan Africa, a place where he has for you. I want to go back home. I want to go where I belong. This ain't it. So, man, if y'all want y'all, with that I say, listen. Shalom, 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 be blessed.
Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.